Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Untethered Live's Politi-tics special event. And I'm your host, Jake Johnson. And tonight we're covering the debate between Joe Biden, the sitting president, and Donald Trump, the former president. And we will be commenting and criticizing and fact-checking in real time. But here's the thing. You notice the background. CNN has said that no YouTubers can carry the show, but other networks can, but YouTubers or independent media cannot, which is against fair use doctrine, U.S. Code 17, 105 through 107. Anyway, they're not going to win that, but there is a possibility that they'll issue a DMCA or a takedown claim on my channel tonight. There is a possibility that I'll lose my channel, so please support the channel. Hit the like button, super chat if you can. Subscribe, join, like, share, do all the stuff. Because we're going to do it one way or the other. Why are we going to do it? Because it's our right. We are tax-paying American citizens, and it is legal to do so. You cannot hide the presidential candidate and the sitting president in a debate from the American tax-paying people. You can't do that. It's fair use. So, this is the way that I'm going to compromise. I'm going to watch it, and you're going to watch it on CNN. I'm not going to show it on the screen, and I'm not going to pump audio through this video. If you happen to hear my mic pick it up, I can't help that. Because I have a TV in the room, it's going to be playing. If the mic picks it up, I'm sorry. It's not my intent to do so. I am literally trying to not put it through the video. So nothing from this video is going to present CNN. But I will be commenting on it in real time. So if you have a computer or a television or whatever you have, turn it on the debate and get ready because it starts in just 26 minutes and 38 seconds. I also have laryngitis, and I'm trying very hard not to lose my voice, so bear with me while I do that. Anyway, who do we have in the chat tonight? Starts off strong with some, why can't I scroll? What is going on here? Hang on. There we go. Jack is first in line, and he says, I'm excited about the debate today. I hope Trump wins, and I hope it's not fixed. Well, it's gonna be. Because your votes count. God bless America. We need a prayer and a miracle at the same time. God bless America. America. Well, he does bless America, and we probably will need some sort of prayer. And you get a gold star for being first in the chat. And Amanda, get your ass in the bed, girl. What are you doing here? Go lay down. I got this. She says, hi, chat. Good to see you all. Hiya, Jake. How are you doing today? Well, I've been on pins and needles all day, but now I'm good. Thank you. Let's get this party started. Yeah, you need to get a party started behind your eyelids. Amanda says, Jack, here's your gold star. And Jack says, hey, Amanda, how are you doing tonight? Who do you have for the debate? Amanda says, I'm just going to sit back and watch because there ain't no telling what's going to happen tonight. We have moderators. We have Jake Tapper. All you need to do is Google Jake Tapper and the word Trump, and you'll see what that means. And we have Dana Lash, whose husband. You remember back in the day when Hunter Biden's laptop came out, and everybody kept saying 51 agencies have told us this is Russian collusion. It's a Russian story. 51 agencies. Well, Dana Lash's husband, Jeremy Lash, is in one of those 51 agencies. He's one of the faces that was on CNN constantly talking about the Hunter laptop not being a thing. It's a thing. So, biased much? Probably. Probably so. It's on CNN. They have a mute button, so if they don't want you to talk, they will mute you. I challenge you to see how many times they mute Joe Biden and how many times they mute Trump. Guarantee you it'll be a little bit askewed. I'm going to be keeping track. If I'd have thought about it, if I'd have been smart enough, I'd put a bell up here or something, a little dingy, every time they mute Biden. We'd drink or something. But who knows? Who knows how it's going to turn out? Jack says, I got my popcorn ready, and Fab Daddy's in the house. Happy pre-debate, Fab Daddy. How are you, sir? I hope all is well. I hope you got your TV on and ready to go, because we're going to cover it tonight. Amanda says, hi, Fab Daddy. And Fab Daddy says, hey, Amanda. Fab Daddy says, I thought the debate was at 6 p.m. PST. I don't know what it is Pacific time, but Eastern time, it's 8 o'clock, 8:30. Lucanius says, they didn't want it to be linked to the Ukrainian labs. Payments made through energy companies weren't for expertise after all. What are you talking about there, Lucanus? Walter Davis in the house. What's up, Walter Davis? Good to see you, sir. Tell Linda Davis I said thank you very much. I received a very special envelope today. Thank you, and thank you. Monkey Juice is in the house. And they're both muted when the other one talks. Yeah, let's see about that. Good to see you, Monkey Juice. And Amanda says, Walter, Monkey Juice, no exception. What did I miss? Oh, no exception. Amanda said, hello, Walter. Monkey Juice said, no exception. I don't know why I read that as one sentence. Amanda says, hello, Monkey Juice. And Jack says, I don't have any channels right now. Well, it's on Fox, too. It'll probably be on a local station. So if you want to hit that, or, I mean, you're on YouTube, so pull up another browser window and put the debate on that. Flip back and forth. Run me in the background so you can just hear me and watch the debate. Monkey Juice says, hey, Amanda. And Walter says, hi, Jake, Monkey, Lucianus, Fab Daddy, Amanda, Jack. Curious Squirrel. It's laundry business. Probably so. Pardon me. I'm starting to get my voice back, which means all that stuff is breaking up in my sinuses. I've been coughing like crazy all day. Luciana says, Biden's laptop had receipts for the payments. Labs were bioweapon labs. I won't say the C word here. I hear you, buddy. I don't know what it had on it. All I know is they really didn't want you paying attention to it while the previous election was going on. And, you know, by the way, saying on TV all the time that it's not a thing, that it's Russian misinformation, is election tampering. Just so you know. That's one of the moderator's husbands of this debate tonight that did that. One of the 51 agencies, alphabet agencies. Curious Squirrel says, looks like ABC is going to show it. I don't have cable. Well, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. CNN said they would take down channels if anybody put the debate up. And I can't risk losing my channel. I'm already going against the man by doing what I'm doing. Just because I'm not going to show the image doesn't mean they won't take my channel down. I might lose my channel tonight for your entertainment, so I hope you appreciate that. I hope you appreciate it a lot. I risk everything to bring reality to you. We are deriving truth from chaos on this show. That's what we do. Walter says you can watch PBS air the debate via YouTube. Thank you, Fab Daddy. and CBS and Fox. So it's covered. Everybody's got an access. You could probably pick it up on AM radio, too, if you don't have a TV. Cold Creek Croft, what's up, my brother? This is Walter and all. Yesterday, I got to race 2 pronghorns for about 2 miles. The Prometheus school of running away from things. Yes, somebody likes the same thing I like. I'm just trying to place who says that. Is that Critical Drinker that says that? Somebody says that. The Prometheus school of running away from things, which is a movie trope. Jack says, drink some tea, Jake, it'll help. Well, I have coffee right here. By the way, tonight's episode is brought to you by this hot cup of coffee. Would you like to have a cup of coffee with me? Have some coffee with Jake and watch the debate? Grab yourself a cup and let's get it going. And if you don't have a cup, you can get one in the description below. Check it out. I strongly suggest you go for the first one. It's very nice. Walter's Curious Squirrel says, hey, Walter Davis, good to see you. Walter Davis says, cool, Montana. We got a baby vulture that fell out of a nest and moved in with the horses. Thought it was with the cows. He's cute, but he has no manners. It's because he's a vulture and they throw up on their food. Or they throw up their food. They don't do the other business. Cole says, Walter Davis, right on. Hawks are gone for some reason. But lots of turkey vultures. Annie Chase, welcome to the show. Ireland is screwed with an illegal plantation of migrants. Really? I don't know anything about Irish law. So maybe get with the Scots and have another war? I don't know. I saw Braveheart. Does that count? But welcome to the show anyway. Amanda says, hey, Cole. And Cole Croft says, that was from Cinema Sins. Okay, yeah. Also. Got it. I knew it was one of those shows. Funny as they just ran in front of me instead of to the either side. Only 38 miles per hour, and then let them go. No need to be a dick and stress them. True. They hiss like snakes. Vultures do? Probably. The one that I met up close didn't say much. Wasn't a pleasant meeting of the minds, if you know what I'm saying. It was rather abrupt. I headbutted him at 50 miles an hour, in case you're wondering. Cole says, Amanda, etc. Hello, Cole Greek Croft. Jack says, please help our country. We need a real president. I'm just saying. We do, in fact, need a real president. And in 15 minutes and 39 seconds, we will find out the first wave of who advances to the next round. I assume it's going to be a shit show. But I'm here to cover it anyway. So, like, subscribe, share. Super Chat is available in the chat box if you guys want me to see your comment when you say it. If you want a response when you say it, Super Chat it, because I imagine the chat's going to get crazy tonight. And I may get behind and may not even see your comment because I'm not going to go for 5 hours tonight. Shortly after the debate's over, we'll have a conversation, and then I'm going to bed. Because I've got a long day tomorrow. I got to work, and I got a show tomorrow night, which I will not be here tomorrow night, which is one of the reasons I'm here tonight. So, enjoy. Nate A., what's up, brother? What's up, Jake? Good to see you. I work so much, it's hard to be here all the time. I'm glad to be able to be a part of this one for a bit. I hear you, Nate. Thank you for being here. And God bless you. And I know what you mean about working all the time. Me too. Can't do nothing else. Walter says, Fab Daddy, I thought it was a Brocken eater pipe. And it was a vulture hissing. I thought it was a broken heater pipe, and it was a vulture hissing. Oof. Well, like I said, the one I met didn't say much other than oof. I heard that. It was audible. Oof. But it might have been me. I don't know. Walter says, hey, Nate. And Big Daddy says, we just got to the nursing home and get another one. Big Daddy, what are you talking about? And welcome to the show. Cold Creek Cross says, I somehow missed seeing turkey vultures all my life until here. Freaky birds and so big. Run. Yeah, the vultures here are pretty big too. They look like turkeys. They might be turkey vultures. I don't know. They just call them vultures. They don't call them turkey vultures, but it may be the same thing. Nate says, hey, Walter. And Jack says, Jake, are you a dog lover or a cat lover? What is your favorite animal? My favorite animal is a dead animal, but aside from that, I like dogs. I have about 5 cats, but I like dogs. I don't like cats. Why do I have cats, you might ask? Because I live alone, and you have to show love somewhere, and it's my job to do good things in the world, so I feed the cats. That's one thing. It's one good deed. They showed up. I didn't ask them to be here. Rachel says, hello. Hey, Rachel. Walter Davis says, I see them and tell them I'm not ready to go, and they fly away. Nate says, hey, Amanda. Fab Daddy says, hi, Nate and Rachel. Jordan Scott Mills, what's up, brother? Howdy, guys. Jake, I'm watching on my PS5. There's a wide screen stream as well. Excellent. Well, good. Hopefully you can catch the debate on your PS5, too. Because I'm not going to be able to air it tonight via threats made by CNN directly. They want to take down my channel, and I may still lose my channel, so please support this channel because we are doing this at some great risk. Shouldn't be a risk. See what's behind me? All that applies, every bit of it. Rachel says, hi, Daddy. Curious Squirrel says, we need waiters for this. Dr. Bong, welcome to the show. Get freaky for live. There you go. That's as freaky as I get. Curious Squirrel says, hi, Nate, and glad you could make it. And Amanda says, hi, Rachel. And Nate says, hey, Fab. And Amanda says, hey, Nate. Fab Daddy says, chest waiters. It's gonna be deep. Yes, it will. Who will win, Mike Tyson or Jake Paul? Are you kidding? Mike Tyson. How do I know that? Because I've watched the look in his eyes. That man wants to hurt you. It's not the other way with Jake Paul. Jake Paul wants to be famous. He doesn't care about hurting Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, the only thing on his mind is I want to eat that guy. I want to eat him like for dinner. For real. Mike Tyson will kill him. I can't believe anybody agreed to that. If you're sane, you wouldn't agree to that. Have you seen Mike Tyson hit a fella before? I have. It's not pretty. It's like a tank with a concrete block for an arm. It's terrifying. Nate A says, hey, Squid. Rachel says, hi, Amanda. Cold Creek Croft says, I bet I'm going to lose power and internet in about 45 minutes, just in time for this powerful cold front to hit. 64 down from 94 in 12 minutes with high winds and forecasting huge hail. Well, good gracious, Cold Creek Croft, I strongly suggest you go dig out some blankets and some pillows and anything you can wrap up in and be prepared and get some candles too. And I hope your power doesn't go out. What do you know about the 2025 plan? I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard anything about it. I've only heard that phrase bandied around, but I don't know what they're talking about. Fab Daddy, you can enlighten us if you know something. Nate A says, what is your thought on the next president after this election? I was drawn to Vivek. Yeah, I think Vivek could run for president again and possibly even win. I think more than likely if Trump wins. This is the plan that I have in action if Trump wins, is the way I kind of see it going down. And I could be wrong about all of this because my thought is that he was going to pick Tulsi Gabbard to be his VP. Before that, I thought Vivek Ramaswamy, but I soon saw him working with Trump, so I knew he wasn't going to be VP. He's got something else going on. But I don't know who he's going to pick, but I would assume that he's going to play out 3 years of that 4-year term and then give it over to somebody else who can carry it on and carry the MAGA movement forward into the future by the next 20 years. And by which Donald Trump Jr. or even the little one might run for president because he'll be of age about that time. Barron Trump. So that's my thought. Sophia Grace, hello. Welcome to the show. Jordan says CNN stream is just one Lisbo blabbing. Now it's CNN trying to stand on the shoulders of giants, showing that Nixon-Kennedy debate clip. The fact there's no audience is a sham. There's a lot of things about this debate that is not going to be good, which happens in 7 minutes and 36 seconds, by the way. So get your other device prepared and ready because you're going to have to stream it to yourself. I'm going to react to it in real time, so there's going to be a lot of me watching and listening, and then short bursts of commentary. Oh, Dana, thank you for the $40 super chat. Dana, good looking out, darling. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. It means a lot. Rachel says, who would you guys prefer to take a transatlantic ship to Europe or fly? Fly. Yeah, I would definitely fly. It'd be cheaper to go on the ship probably, but I would definitely fly. Terrifying. Jack says, Jake, who will you get in the ring with? Nobody. I am not a fighter. I'm a lover, baby. Can you not see this mustache from where you're sitting? I love. I don't fight. That being said, if you put me in a corner, I will kill you and eat your babies. And I mean it. But otherwise, you don't have anything to worry about with me. I'm just ready to chill out and relax. The worst thing I'll ever do is argue with you. It is hot in California, says Sophia. I believe you, Sophia. It's hot in North Carolina, too. Michael Whiteman. Well, sorry, Whiteman. Michael Whiteman? Nice name. I'm a Whiteman enthusiast. Robert Kennedy for president? Well, he's not on the debate team, so I don't think that's going to happen, but I understand why you would think that. Cole says, Sophie Grace, where in Cali? I was in L.A. when young, then Sacramento later, and it was always hot. I guess that's Sacramento. Might be something else that I'm not aware of. Jordan says 54% of Biden supporters polled say they are voting for him because he is not Trump. That's from the CNN stream. Wow. Thank you, Jordan Scott Mills, for the poll. However, check out Reuters or, some of the other pollsters and see what they say. Dana says, I hate violence. It's incredible how violent-looking boxing is being glorified. Greetings. I don't know what that word is. Is that looks? How violence, I don't know what LOKE is supposed to mean there, but boxing is being glorified because it's a great sport. And I agree with boxing, and boxing is not violence. It is violent. but it is controlled violence. That's the thing you guys don't understand. Men, what all these young people are calling toxic masculinity, is a trait of being a man. That's the reason we build pyramids and conquer countries and all the great things. That's the reason we went to the moon, because of that toxic masculinity. If you get rid of that, if you feminize men, nothing gets done anymore, ever. Trust me. Boxing is a way to let that out without going to war with our neighbors. That need to do something. That's what men do. They have to do something. So let them have boxing. Let them have MMA. That's how they get that aggression under control. That's how they stop being so toxic in public. Michael Whiteman says, Ben Carson, he might be vice president. I don't know. He's on the short list. Cold Creek Croft from Bakersfield is where Sophie is from. I love the Bakersfield sound. I'm a musician, so I'm into that. 2 minutes, 52 seconds. Annie Chance says, Trump for the win. Annie, I like the way you think. Fab Daddy says, you should look it up. Hang on. Sorry, I lost my place. You should look it up. It's a proposed plan for the Republicans brought by a few conservative groups. I'll look into it, Fab Daddy. I'll check out what it means. Right now, get your devices started and fired up and ready to go, because the debate is about to start in 30 minutes. 32 minutes and 29 seconds, to be exact. Dana says, okay, like boxing. I got it. I understand now. I thought that's what you were trying to say, but I wasn't sure. We figured it out. Thank you. Epsilon, hello, welcome to the show. Cold Creek says, been there, done that, nice in the winter, though. No comment. Right? Jack says, Kanye West wants to be president. Biden was trying to get him in for president. I don't think it would work. Vote Kanye. You think things are crazy now? Kanye's a little bit insane. And thank you, Dana, for the $40 super chat. I appreciate you very much. Derek Roan, what's up? Epsilon says, I like your old background. Well, thank you. Well, unfortunately, I need to use the new one tonight. Because we're going to step all over that. The old one will be back. Fab Daddy says, thanks, Dana. And Amanda says, woohoo, Dana, thanks, hon. Epsilon says, 40 used USD. 40 USD. Damn. 40 US dollars. That's correct. Epsilon, thank you. Jordan says, I have CNN on the PS5 and I'm here on my tablet. See, that's how you do it right there. Jordan's got it under control. Please hit that like button, everybody. Like, subscribe, share, support, and super chat function in the chat box. If you want me to see your chat immediately after you say it and you want a response immediately, that's the best way to do it. Fab Daddy says, hi, Jordan. Curious Squirrel says, I think this is a good workaround. You won't lose your channel. I hope not. I really do, but it is entirely possible. So if it goes blue, you know what happened. They got me. Michael Whiteman says, Robert Kennedy for president. I heard you. Dana says, Fab Daddy and Amanda, heart, heart, heart. By the way, everybody will be pleased to know that the surgery was a success. For those of you that don't know, Amanda's been in the hospital, and she is joining us from bedside tonight. And her surgery was a success, and she is on the mend, and everything is functional and working as should be. So thank you all for your prayers. God bless you all. And tell Amanda how you feel. Let her know how popular she is on this channel. Cole Crickcroft says, Sophie Grace, Associate, Bakersfield, with trips to Mojave on Highway 5. Epsilon says, the death stare. Yeah. Jordan says, too bad we'll never get another Trump and Carson not going on stage and Kasich being forgotten about backstage again. Kasich was easy to forget about. I remember that guy, but he was easy to forget. The only thing I knew about that guy is that he looked disgusting when he ate, because he, for some reason, had them film him at a diner eating chicken. And all I could see was grease all over the place. And I was like, he lost the vote right then and there. Michael Reitman says, Ben Carson for VP. Michael Whiteman, please stop repeating yourself. This is not the place for you to stump for another candidate. This is a place to discuss what's happening tonight, the debate. And those people are not in the debate. So please, stop repeating yourself. Don't make me have to get on to you now. I'm down a super cop tonight. Don't make me have to be one. I'm not nearly as gracious. Russian says, what is it? A new season of Breaking Bad? Could be, Russian. Could be. Jordan Scott Mills says, the CNN stream is just women complaining about not being able to murder their... Yep. Don't go on yet, guys. Yeah, well... You'll have that. That's what CNN is. The Child Nixing Network. Larry Holmes. Well, that's better. Crap. Now my chat started jumping again. I don't even know where I was at. There we are. Curious Squirrel says, we need RFK Jr. in several roles. Head of the FDA, the NIH, the FCC, the DOE, etc. I would agree with you. I like Robert F. Kennedy. I just don't think he's president material because he's a Democrat, which means he'll vote Democrat and he'll allow Democrat policies to go through. And the far end of democracy is crazy people, like badly crazy people. I'm not just saying that about Democrats. It's the same way with the Republicans, but at least they keep their crazy people somewhat in check. The Democrats do not. They're the ones running the show right now. And as you can see, the country is falling apart at the seams like an old frail basket. We don't need that. So I don't think Kennedy is a good choice. Excuse me. Don't blow your nose on camera, Jake. It's not professional. Sorry, I'm sick. You're lucky I'm talking. I don't think president is his space. I agree with you, Curious Squirrel. I don't think it is either. Jordan says now they're talking about how great the economy is right now, talking about the S&P 500. Well, the economy is great if you're above the 1%, but if you're down here with the rest of us, it sucks. They can't tell that because they are elite and they don't know the difference. Odd Unit, welcome back. What's up, buddy? Good day. Have a good night, friends. Take it easy, Michael Whiteman. Biden is about to get thrashed, says Odd Unit. Maybe so, if they'll keep their finger off of that mute button long enough for him to, yeah. They're talking about the mute button on CNN right now. Curious Squirrel says, you as well, Michael Whiteman. Fab Daddy says, historically, the Democrats have a better record with our economy. Historically, maybe, but not recently. Our economy is in the tank right now. And, in case you didn't know, under Biden, he did not renegotiate with the Saudis, and they just dropped the petrodollar. Do you know what that means? Do you have any idea? Being a Democrat, you probably don't know what that means, but let me enlighten you. back in the time of Nixon, Nixon took us off of the gold standard and put us on to the petrodollar. And there was a deal made with the Saudis who make the oil that if they sold oil anywhere, they would only sell it to American dollars, with American dollars. Meaning, if any oil is sold, we reap the benefits for it. Our value of our dollar stays high. All right. They just dropped that, and there was no renegotiation. That's why we have been so friendly to Saudi Arabia for so long, despite the fact that they are diametrically opposed to the way we do business in America. We remain friends because they make us lots of money. They're not going to do that anymore. That means the value of the dollar is going straight down into the crapper. That's under Biden's watch. So you need to be aware of that. Derek says, America, woohoo. And Jack says, Jake, what would you do if you were president? I would shut down anything that has 3 letters attached to it. And I would open up the government to fixing roads and building hospitals. And that's it. And I'd build our military up to the most powerful as it's ever been, so that we could strengthfully and peacefully stand at the border and go ahead, make my day. That's it. I would withdraw from all wars. I would withdraw from all countries. I would stop being the world police. I would immediately close the borders all the way around, and I would make it illegal for anybody to bitch about that, because this is America, and if we don't survive, the rest of the world don't survive. That's the way you should see it. I don't think that's the way it is. I think that's the way you should see it if you are an advocate for America. That's what I think. But I'm not running for president. I'm just a podcast host. Not even a very good one at that. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out the brand new Untethered Live Facebook page, the link is in the chat. Go by and check it out. Become a member there. It's free. You get to know each other on a personal level, share videos and pictures, and keep up with all things Untethered Live Universe. That's the way to do it. We're also available on 11 other platforms, and I'm only saying that tonight because I might lose this one tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Jordan says, can't you watch the C-SPAN stream, Jake? I'm sure they'll be cool. No, sir. No, CNN made it very obviously clear that they did not want YouTubers restreaming their work. They were giving it to other outlets like other networks, but they said no YouTubers, no independent media. They don't want us fact-checking in real time. They want to tell you what to think. They don't want you to think what to think. That's why that woman got shut off on CNN yesterday or day before yesterday when she told the audience to Google it. And then the other lady went nuts and shut her microphone off and went to commercial break. That was the spokeswoman for Donald Trump. And all she said was, Google Jake Tapper and you'll see what I'm saying. And she was in response to a question she was asked. But that's why they do that, because they want to tell you what to think. They don't want you to think for yourself. But no, I can't reiterate any stream because of that threat. They can't do that. It's against the law to hold the presidential debates from Americans. It's against the fair use doctrine, because people have been covering the debates since they've been having debates. All manner of media. We're taxpayers. Those are our presidents. We have a right to discuss what they're talking about as Americans. That's how we choose who to vote for. It's one of the ways. They don't want a strong argument against Biden. They don't want anybody to be able to say, hey, this guy's not all there. Max Sapita says, congratulations, Amanda, 100%. Thank you. Derek Rohn says, prayers and roses. Jordan Mills says, oh, I'm glad to hear, Amanda. I pray you have a good recovery. She's doing well. Amanda says, thank you all. Much love. Curious Squirrel says, good news, Amanda. Have a speedy recovery. Jack says, God bless, Amanda. We love you. And Fab Daddy says, this channel would not be the same without the mightiest of bandhammers, Amanda. Thank you, Fab Daddy. You're right. Walter says, I love you, Amanda. You were the first to welcome me. Max Sapita says, opinion on Vivek. I like Vivek. Vivek is not a Christian, and that's a problem in America. But he's open about that, and I'm okay with that because he's open about it. If he tried to hide it like Obama did, that's a problem. But he says what he is. He's upfront about it, and I like that. I like the way he talks. I think he's very smart. And I think he'll make a great president someday if he's able to run for president. I don't know where he was born at. He might not be born in America, and if that's the case, he can't be president. But I like Vivek Ramaswamy. 69er, shush boy. You shush boy. Do you even know what a 69er is? Do you know what a 77er is? Dana says, oh, Amanda, I wish you a fast recovery, sweet soul. I hope everything is going well for you. Well, it is now. They fixed the problem. And God bless you all for letting Amanda know how you feel about her. 69er, don't repeat yourself. It's not becoming. Amanda says, LOL, not down a super cop, just a slow super cop tonight. Hey, you just sit back and relax. You shouldn't even be here. You should be asleep right now. But you ain't got to worry about nothing. I'll handle this. Amanda says, LOL. I read that one. Lena says, uh-oh. Hang on. My chat jumped again. Lena says, is host a maggot or a libtard? Well, I don't know. I'm a me. I'm definitely not a libtard, I can tell you that. I definitely support Trump. I don't know if that makes me a maggot or not. But I think there's one G in MAGA. CNN, biased news, says Michael Whiteman. I agree. Walter Davis says, hi, Dana, Michael, 69, Jordan. Amanda says, thank all of you so much. It means a lot to me. Eve, he's a maggot, says Lena. Lamau says, the Christo-fascist. Did you learn a new word today? Is that what's going on here, Lena? Are you trying to be impressive? I don't think you know what any of those words mean, but that's okay. You go right ahead. Dana says, Walter Davis. Jordan Miller says, hi, Walter. Dana says, Walter Davis, heart. Sorry, I didn't read the whole thing. Jordan says, no, Lena, that's me, actually. Lena says, this country is falling apart. Either way, really. Well, it wasn't falling apart 4 years ago. But you were just a baby back then, so I don't expect you to remember. That's what you get with two capitalist parties that are basically the same on economics. Lena, this is America. Everyone here is a capitalist. All of us. That's what we do in the West. Capitalism. You belong to a school that tells you that's a bad thing, but that's the reason we have the greatest country in the world. So I would strongly suggest you read a book outside of your classroom. All right, Lena. What does fascism mean? Answer that question and you can continue on your rant. Hardcore Hentai says Joe Biden is a plague. I don't disagree. 14 minutes, 37 seconds until the great debate of 2024. Of course, recently as well, Trump tanked the economy under COVID. No, COVID tanked the economy. Trump had the economy breaking records on a daily basis. Pay attention. Democrats are better than Republicans on literally every single issue. Not true. Not even close to true, Lena. And you don't get to make up words and then blame people for doing that. Jordan says, Lena, unfortunately not, but neither is the Republican Party. Correct. Dana says, U.S. is $34 trillion in debt. What the hell are the politicians on both sides doing about this? Well, they're sending that money over to the Ukraine. Don't you know? That's what you're supposed to do if you're an American, according to all the little flags I see running around everywhere and all these young people spewing nonsense in every direction. That's why we're in this boat. If you take that $34 trillion and then subtract the amount of money that we have sent overseas to foreign wars, see where it is then. It still ain't zero, but it's a whole lot lower. Most of that $34 trillion is spent elsewhere. Walter says, historically factual, Roosevelt made the Great Depression last until WW2 instead of a couple of years. Yeah, there's great money in strife and calamity. I don't know if you're aware of that, but that's how a lot of these people get rich. War is very lucrative. It just is. I don't agree with that, but that is the reason they do the things they do the way they do them. Yes, you are in the wrong stream, Lena. Bye-bye. And I'm not a boomer, you idiot. Walter Davis says, Dana, spending more and lining their pockets. That's exactly what they're doing, Walter. That's where most of that money goes. And every now and then, we'll have a great big accident, and the day that happens, $3 billion will just disappear. Nobody knows where it went. Nobody knows. It's happened like 4 times already. Under Democrat rule, by the way. Big plant blows up. A couple buildings come down. Billions of dollars just vanish. Nobody has a clue. Doesn't even talk about it, really. But it happens. Curious Squirrel says, Dana, they're printing more green toilet paper. And with the Saudis dropping the petrodollar, it's going to get worse. That deficit is going to go up tremendously. And Jordan asks Lena, who's prejudiced in modern politics? Please. And if you say Trump, you are a moron, because it's very obvious that he is not prejudiced. He does way too many nice things for people to be prejudiced. If he is prejudiced, he's a lousy racist. So many trash people in this country. Well, why don't you leave, Lena? Nobody wants you here anyway. Why don't you go somewhere else and see how you like it over there? Why don't you spend a couple weeks in Saudi Arabia? How about that? Don't talk about your own people like that, you disrespectful child. This country puts a roof over your head. The least you could do is be respectful of it. 9 minutes, 58 seconds. Adult Master says, would you repeal birthright citizenship? Absolutely. It's absurd. You can come here illegally, put a baby and they get citizenship. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that. If you're not a citizen, you shouldn't be able to become a citizen for any reason other than the proper channels of becoming a citizen. We have laws for a reason. We should enforce those laws. There are already laws on the books that suggest these things. We just don't enforce them. We should. Instead of arresting people for speeding so much, or whatever nonsense they arrest people for, maybe they should focus on that. Dana says, Walter Davis? Exactly. Lena says, Jordan Scott Mills? Oh, your head is firmly planted in your own ass. Gotcha. Lena, you don't have a right to say things like that after the things you've been saying. There's only one person here that isn't thinking critically, and that's you. Look around. Look to your left. Look to your right. Do you see anybody that agrees with you? That makes you the asshole. Goonable says 69. That's your opinion. Jordan says, Dalton Master, I would, that's for sure. Walter says, hi, Dalton Master. Curious Girl says, they're showing Biden and his laundryman now. Frank Lutz, that's who's on my CNN Debate Night in America screen. Christine Marshall, hello. Dana says, Curious Squirrel, yes, driving the country to its knees very fast. Yeah. Do not recommend. Later, losers. Later, Lena. You're not hurting my feelings at all. Jordan says, Lena, later, trader. Nate says, I hate that CNN is putting this on. I wish it was a closer to center news agency. I agree, Nate. I don't know why they allowed CNN to do this. CNN has so much Trump bashing on their website right now. I am worried about the muting of Trump as well. So am I. We'll see how that's going to play out. I really think this should have been moderated by Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan, and I think it should have been held at Madison Square Garden or something like that, someplace not political inherently. Apparently, though, they want to put a kibosh on Trump's trajectory upwards, although if you look at the polls, it's kind of too late for that. We'll see, though. You know how notoriously bad polls are. Jack says, we have rights. They can't take nothing away. We have rights. Yes, we can. Words from Barack Obama. Yeah, and that's all well and good until it's reflected on them, and then all of a sudden there's rules everywhere. Nate says, bye, Lena, you won't be missed. And Walter says, Trump said in his first term he would drain the swamp and expose the monsters. He did. And the people have done nothing about it. True. He exposed things that none of us ever knew before. If you go back 15 years, nobody could tell you who the Speaker of the House was, or who the Treasury Department was ran by, or what the groups that were getting together, like the Squad and the, this and that. Nobody knew any of that stuff. Trump exposed all of that. He brought it to light. And for that, I thank Trump. Amanda says, like, subscribe, share, support, and join. And Super Chat is available in the chat box if you want me to pick up on your comment immediately or risk not having it read, because once this debate starts, that's where my attention is going to go, and you guys can talk amongst yourself until I pick back up again. Porkchop76 says, don't vote for 2X impeached felons Kennedy 2024. Why, Porkchop? We like felons around here. This country was founded on felons. Only makes sense. You know the people that came over on the Mayflower were escaping prison sentences, right? Jordan says, Nate, almost no news company is in the center right now. Maybe Fox News is. Maybe. And I'll miss her. It's good to have dissenting voices, but they just can't ever handle it. Who are we talking about you missing? Because Fox News is most certainly not in the center. They are 3 minutes, 44 seconds. They are propaganda for the right. There are a lot of propaganda. Newsmax is okay. There's a couple of smaller. Next News Network is okay. Most of these are right-leaning, but they are center-oriented. They at least tell you that what they view the truth to be. You can at least see when they're trying to spin something. Fox News and MSNBC and CNN and all those big, all they're doing is lying to you on both sides. They never tell the truth. You have to read between the lines to see the truth. Listen to Jimmy Dore. Listen to Joe Rogan. Listen to Dave Rubin or Tim Pool. Get your news from places where people actually care about telling the truth. Listen to Jake Johnson. Although I don't do news very often, so. 2 minutes. I mean, we're getting this party cranked up. Nate says, curiosity, squirrel. We need to get rid of a lot of those three-letter organizations. Vivek is all about that. I see you like RFK, but Vivek is a lot more America First. I agree, Nate. I'm 100% behind Vivek Ramaswamy. I like Robert F. Kennedy. I don't like everything. I don't agree with everything he says, but I like him personally. I think he's a good man, and I think he's just in the wrong place in the world, and he doesn't see what everybody else sees. But I like Vivek a lot better. Levi Ackerman says, bro, why new generation boys don't want to be a man? But because they've been sissified and feminized. It started back in the 90s when the girls wanted metrosexuals. The guys would put frosting tips in their hair and wear silky shirts because they thought girls would be into that. It all stems from trying to get laid. And they just walked us right off the cliff over time. And now all the men are basically women. It's hard to keep a mustache like this. You should understand that. 1 minute, 16 seconds. Democrats, says Michael Whiteman. Nate says, Jordan, I agree. Dion Pryor says, save women's rights and Social Security. Vote Biden. No. How about that? Women have rights and Social Security. I know a woman who has both. Morons. Demonic rats, says Nate. Yeah. All right. It's starting in 36, 35, 34. I'm going to jump off the chat now and start listening to the debate. You guys join me, won't you? We still got 25 seconds. Can you guys hear that? Here we go. The CNN presidential debate live on CNN with President Trump and President Biden. There's a lot of people involved in this.
President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in their rematch for the nation's highest office. Each will make his case to the American people.
I can't turn it up, James Ridley.
Until election day.
You have to watch it on your end.
I'm Dana Bash, anchor of CNN's Inside Politics and co-anchor of State of the Union.
I'm Jake Tapper, anchor of CNN's The Lead and co-anchor of State of the Union. Dana and I will co-moderate this evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the two candidates tonight.
Jake Tapper and Dana Lash, two exemplary subjects.
President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss determined their positions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute.
All right. James Ridley. You can watch it on CNN. You can watch it on Fox, ABC, NBC, all the networks. But you have to watch it yourself. I'm going to respond to it as it happens, and I'll jump in every now and then and chat with you guys. But you must understand, CNN will not allow me to show this on air because they do not want YouTubers doing this tonight. I may actually lose my channel, so please, if you want my attention or if you would like to support the channel, Super Chat.
Agreed to accept these rules.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Enter the room, Joe Biden. Looking spry and full of drugs. Pointing at nobody.
And please welcome the 45th President of the United States.
Donald Trump enters the room looking like a bulldog. Walking straight ahead with purpose.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices.
Hitting them right off the bat with the price question.
What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency?
Thank you, James Ridley, for the $1.99. I don't have cable. You can watch it on TV or on YouTube.
The economy lived in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach in your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed.
That's a lie.
Jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come from a household where the kitchen tables and things weren't able to be met during the month was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination of what was left with the corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people. It's to $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to be.
Dude, where have you been buying insulin?
Any drug, all the drugs they could be getting next year. In a situation that we're going to make that available to everybody, all Americans.
Bad tooth, you need to watch it on your end. I can't turn it up.
And that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you, President Trump.
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929.
Squat stomper.
Finished, so we did a great job. We get a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country, but other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce-back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Get him, Donald.
President Biden?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think.
He is not. That's another lie.
And, you know, the fact of the matter is that we find ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's had lost more jobs than he had when he began.
That's not true either.
The idea that he did something that was significant in the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan.
Yes.
He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we still found ourselves in a position where
That's a lie. That's 4 lies.
notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have any, this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to
Yeah,
follow up if I can.
Yeah, that's not true. That's 5 lies.
Follow up, you can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
Not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. Now, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
Yeah.
President Trump, over the last
It was Trump's plan to remove the troops from Afghanistan. Joe Biden is the one that yanked them out without any preparations.
$8.4 trillion in new debt. Well, so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID, and even after COVID, it was.
Yeah, it's those tax cuts that allowed people to start spending money again, and that gets the economy flowing. When you put money into the economy, it circulates. Joe Biden doesn't understand that. He's putting it in another country's economy.
Plus, beyond that, we took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation. and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
Oh,
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period.
not true.
Number two, he got $2 trillion tax cut benefit at the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion.
Right, you got it, Jordan.
I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with.
Get it right. Get it right. Look, whatever.
We finally beat Medicare.
And it goes down.
President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man
Trump just won the debate.
Destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way.
Keep in mind, the last time Trump did this and listed out all the things that would happen if Joe Biden became president, he was right about every one of them.
What happened to the United States of America? We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
There's a happy woman.
This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions.
Is there a question?
Would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote.
Wake up, Joe.
Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this.
They absolutely said that on TV.
And we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they were all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, but each state have a different rule.
No, it's nothing like that, Joe. Civil rights and the right to kill a child are not the same thing.
The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses.
You mean in the Biden household?
It's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
No, cut him off because, he's not making sense.
The same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And
Yeah, Joe.
And these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision.
I got a question. All these rapes that are happening that he's talking about, what happens if you stop those people from coming into the country? Will those still happen?
They knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy.
Did he say anything? I missed that.
Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between between the woman and the state.
Yeah, that's not how trimesters work, Joe.
The founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do.
The doctor in the state where it's happening. Right. You're right, Joe. That you just proved his point.
The life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that.
Yes, it does.
Only a woman's life is in danger. She's going to die.
Not true.
That can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period.
Well, you might not be, but those people he's talking about absolutely were. I saw it with my own eyes.
You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court.
51 years of an illegal law. That's unconstitutional.
If the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass.
You know who Roe v. Wade is talking about? You know who Roe and Wade are? Do you know that the woman that was involved with that recanted her story and then became a Christian and then spent the rest of her life as a Christian and a mother? They don't like talking about that one.
Cross the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me, endorsed my position.
No, they did not.
In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where, when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers.
That was Barack Obama, Joe.
The families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border legally.
Not true.
When he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think that's what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. All he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now. All terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation, because I didn't have legislation. I said close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my
Right.
we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just
Yeah, Maggie, it's not your body. It's another life. Has its own DNA. You're just carrying it for a little while, but it's not your body.
all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you,
character.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything across the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person coming in his administration, killed three American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
Is he now?
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant?
Joe Biden already has the power to close the border. Trump just said as much, and he was correct. He didn't ask Congress to do anything. He, as president, executive ordered the border shut, and it got shut. Biden could do the same thing.
And Soleimani, the two greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world, and it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with a bad one, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state
True.
is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these three incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and he just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taking place.
Joe doesn't even know.
We're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast, because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all, and he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress.
He spent the first couple of weeks removing all the good things that Trump did do.
And now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in.
President
And it's a
Biden.
very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie.
Nope.
Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since they passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And he opposed his group.
That was in Vietnam, Joe.
Situation where
You're not in Vietnam.
my son spent a year in Iraq. Later went next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
Nobody brought up your son but you, moron.
Well, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would...
Yeah, well, when you start throwing ad hominem attacks, that means you've lost the debate.
That said, it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up.
Her husband, the moderator.
It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
Yes, he should.
Star general standing at your side who was on your staff who said you said it. Period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home with their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its 3rd year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
Yes.
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, a president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in.
You think?
What happened? He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left Americans.
Yes, we did. And a dog.
He saw that. He said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
Yes, it is.
President Biden?
Never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first.
Yes.
Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage, for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. But he didn't do a thing.
What are you talking about?
Number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he
But he didn't until you became president.
And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I
I'm gonna
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute. I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable? Keeping the territory in Ukraine.
No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
Amen.
You have a minute.
The fact is that
He gets to rebut a second time.
he's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire. Not just a piece, he wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there?
Yes.
You think he'll stop when
Yes, I do.
if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What
Nothing.
happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because
We're in war,
he does
Joe.
what he says and walks away. By the way, all that money we give Ukraine for weapons we make here in the United States, we give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our
So where did all that money go?
produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle
We're
East.
not strong, Joe.
In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden,
Before I take office, what a Chad ass flex.
resolve
Yes.
this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one, they're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime,
Right, Jordan.
in Israel, we're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so they're 2 different things.
Yeah, I don't think you know what's happening over there, Joe.
We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. They don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas. Greatly weakened, and they should be. but you've got to be careful for what using certain weapons among population centers.
Come on, Joe.
Let's go back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any, they were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all, you got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them, as far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but you don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
Shots fired, Joe.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. You going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO.
He should. We don't need NATO.
Strength lies in our alliances as well.
Joe, the USSR project is over. The Soviet Union fell. We don't have a need for NATO. It's just there.
Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places.
You keep assuming he wants to move on to Poland. He does not.
And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations, because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States, and they were no cars, no. They don't
Well, according to the
supposed to take their cars, their
interview that Tucker Carlson did with Putin, he asked him that question, Jordan, and Putin himself said, I have no reason to go into Poland. They don't have anything I want. The Ukraine used to be part of Russia, and then it broke off, and all he's trying to do is get it to be part of Russia again. That's why they're doing this. The reason they went in is because they agreed to join NATO. The line in the sand has always been NATO. Don't join NATO. That's the only land we have that's a direct connection to the sea, and you're going to block us in with NATO countries. I'm not going to allow that, says Putin. That's why they're doing this.
January 6, 2021, after you rallied your supporters that day, some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes.
Yeah, I know the history too, Jordan.
Swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend,
All
quote, the Constitution.
3,000 years of
What
it.
do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, like they say.
Film.
Saying, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, And she turned them down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down. The mayor of
Yep.
They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see. I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? That's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Yep.
Look, he encouraged those folks to look at Capitol.
No, he did not.
I sat in that dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours. 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. Well, they've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. He went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are held accountable. And he wants to let them all out, and now he says that he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing, the Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump.
They should go to jail.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man on the right?
Oh, he said convicted felon.
The matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, just turned over desks, turned over statues. The idea that those people are patriots? Come on.
There were no statues turned over, you idiot. That was a different thing.
I said, will you denounce the Proud Boy? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol?
No.
What are you going to do?
Joe thinks he's got him. You see the look on his face? He thinks he's got him cornered.
After a jury convicted you of 36 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
That's not what he said.
Retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things.
How about that, Joe?
Cause at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo.
Quid pro quo.
We're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with his son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute.
I bet.
The idea that I did anything wrong.
Look, here's the deal.
Is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong.
He didn't say that, moron.
I've spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that.
Except for you.
Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with. And think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public?
He didn't get accused of that.
Of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant. I mean, what were we talking about?
Look at Trump's face. Look at Trump's face.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats.
Towley. Y'all won't get high?
The civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent.
You won't get high?
He thought it was going to damage me, but when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up way up. You know that because you're reporting it, and we took in
That's
more
right.
money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign.
$400 million so far.
Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
That's right.
President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe...
Notice how nobody's mic has been cut off yet? All that hype about cutting off mics and nobody's done it yet.
democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution?
That's not what he said, Joe.
I thought Hitler had some good ideas.
Oh, Hitler.
In the first place after my son
Let's bring Hitler into this.
in Iraq because of Iraq.
And let's bring Bo into this.
Until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas.
That was a hoax.
Torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother. And
I've heard a bunch of lies tonight, but I have not heard Trump tell any. I don't know what you guys think about that.
the one who tried to stop it, and the one who said, I think they're fine people in both sides.
That's not what he said.
What American president ever said? Nazis coming out of fields, carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas. We're fine people.
They didn't have swastikas, and that's not what he said.
I'd like to know what they are. Good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has...
He did not say that.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story's been totally wiped because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't
Right.
because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You
Nope.
know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst presidency in the history of our country.
Yep.
We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every anchor every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
And debunked. It happened.
No, it
All you
didn't.
have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that
Welcome, Val.
carrying those red woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. didn't deserve to be president at all. And
The idea.
all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes.
No, we didn't. We saw what CNN put out.
We saw people occupying that. His own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him.
What's that got to do with what you're talking about, Joe?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate.
First of all, there were protesters at that place in Charlottesville that were not good people. But that's not what Trump was asked. He was asked about the people who had a permit to protest there, that these other people took over the protests. And he said, concerning the people that were there protesting, there were fine people on both sides of that, on both sides of the whether or not they should take down the statue protest. Not the people that came out with tiki torches, which was probably a psyop in the first place. And he did not say anything about Hitler at all. That's all lies, every bit of it. Second of all, the fact that border crossings have gone down, they have not. There is no border crossing. There is no team in place to stop border crossing. He has lied about every single fact that has been asked since we've started this thing. I was keeping notes and I just gave up. That's how many he said. There are a lot of things he said that are not true about the economy, about the troops. It was Donald Trump who put a plan in action to remove the troops from Afghanistan. But that did not happen before he lost the election. And then Biden, on whatever day it was, the first week, snatched him out of there without any preparation. They had like 24 hours to get ready to leave. They left everything there. That's not what Trump had planned. So he did that so that he could talk about Trump. I'm telling you, this is going to be fact-checked to pieces tomorrow by all the places. Check it out. Yeah, Fab Daddy agrees with me. No, the biggest liar will not be Trump. He hasn't told a single lie, Fab Daddy, not a single one. I've been keeping notes, and I watch all of this stuff, so I know what he's talking about. Everything is a lie, says Dana. Well, everything kind of is a lie because we do live in a world that is a facade. There are people crafting narratives everywhere. There are false dichotomies everywhere. But in the confines of this debate, only one person on that stage has been lying through their teeth, and it is not Donald Trump. Every word he has said, except for if you want to call him boasting for himself a lie, where he says, I'm the greatest, or I've done the greatest, or we had the greatest, or whatever it is he says, you could call that a lie. I call that salesmanship. I'm talking about the facts of the details of what he's talking about. You said Trump didn't have a war, but you forgot about Afghanistan. Trump didn't start Afghanistan, Fab Daddy. I hate to tell you that. Trump did not have a war. And so you can call bullshit all you want. He didn't start any wars. Imagine that. Apparently, I'm having trouble with the stream, so if you guys are seeing any issues, please let me know what's going on. I think I'm being throttled as we speak.
Times more likely to die from pregnancy.
Back to the debate.
And black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
fact of the matter is there are more small black businesses that have been started from any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporate races that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs.
Thank you, Curious Squirrel and Jordan.
In half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed.
Bill.
The situation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home. So
Why?
they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals provided had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years, their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's
Yeah.
blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled, tripled, and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. He gave them a country with essentially no inflation. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it.
Pardon me.
Green New Scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're saying, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19,
No, Jack.
20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking.
If you want me to see your comments, super chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to start where I stopped off at.
Thank you. President Biden.
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 50% unemployment. He decimated the economy. Absolutely decimated
Really?
the economy.
Well, a
That's why
gallon of gas was $1.80 when you took office.
provided
A gallon of milk was 89 cents to $1.
who were in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they had health insurance.
Might have been $1.50. I can't remember.
The ACA has increased. I made sure that the $8,000 per person in the family get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They've tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again. And they're going to try again if they win. We find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and
Well, if you put more police on the street and then tell them they can't do their job, what point is there having that many police?
caused it by tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Malfeasance.
The challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country.
Does he think Joe just had a stroke?
Extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Let me just go back to what he said about the police. How close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump.
That's true.
Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happen.
I don't know if Joe Biden ever called them super predators. I remember Hillary Clinton saying that. That might have been a lie.
Universities, so I funded them and got
Fab
them
Daddy.
funded. And the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country. Opportunity zones, and the biggest beneficiary are blacks, and that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But when you see these millions of people pouring into our country and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet, it's a disaster.
Yep.
38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been.
Huh?
The idea.
The idea.
That's true. I passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history.
The idea that you can stop climate change, Joe, is amazingly stupid. You can't stop climate change.
Historic black universities and colleges because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. And
That's right, Dana.
College will do what any white student can do. They just have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had cleanest water, he hadn't done a damn thing in the environment. He, out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord, I immediately joined it. He put 1.5 degrees Celsius, and then there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity was climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States.
Yep.
And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it, and it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I
Yep.
took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence. We're not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able? The United States can't get us under control. One of the largest polluters in the world, number one.
Not true. India is the largest polluter in the world. China is second.
We have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people to learn how to deal with them, just like Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements that cause pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and is really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that.
It's because you're not looking, Joe. If you do this, that doesn't mean everybody can't see you.
One company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay that. And by the way,
That's right, Curious Squirrel.
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
Yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now,
Yeah, stealing other people's money ain't how you do it, Joe.
6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck at the time the first one they get, 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that
Right, Dana.
everybody, they pay, the millionaires pay 1%. 1%. So no one after, I could not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
Mine too.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. The biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicaid.
That's not true.
And if you look at the program put forward by
Obamacare, not Medicare.
that he supports, is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And
Well, I don't have insurance, Joe.
in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition, only allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they in fact are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation where I talk about education for black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants, another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000.
Donald Trump is the only person,
$15,000
the only president that supported the black community colleges.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. And everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. By the way, when I said suckers and losers, he said he acknowledged after that he fired that general.
Yes, he did.
That general got fired.
Probably because he lies a lot.
No one has acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, of the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world.
Yeah, because you are bringing in all those illegal immigrants.
We're doing better than any other nation in the world.
No, we're not.
And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession and inflation is going to increase and go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted at him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have...
Jack Trump is winning.
But the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put him there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with the Afghanistan.
But that was his call, Trump.
The most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate.
Oh.
He's the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open.
Yeah, it is.
He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world.
Ha!
We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We're the finest military in the history of the world. The finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody.
Except for those people on the news that say if we went to war with Russia, we'd lose because we don't have the ammunition to fight them.
Go online.
Go online. Google it.
58, don't hold the exact number. Presidential historians, they had meetings and they voted. Who was the worst president in American history? One from best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture.
It is conjecture. That's what happens when people vote on things with their emotions. They conject an idea, Joe.
He did virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have
Thank you, President
child care
Biden.
facilities.
President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take a minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you, and they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life I grow up and I see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about. He's increased the tariff. He will increase the taxes on middle-class people.
Nope.
I said I never raised the taxes on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. This tariff is 10% tariffs. Everything coming into the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that are important. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he's somehow helped the middle class. The middle class have been devastated.
Well, I was making money under Trump. I'm middle class, Joe.
For the next 10 years.
It's been really hard for me to make money since you've been president, so that's how I read that metric.
American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you,
We're the
President Biden.
highest. We lost our
Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans.
Cut that mic.
Both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up.
Opioids.
It went up under your term. It has gone up. Former President Trump despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Give them a purpose for life.
Finish up. We now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come. But he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country.
Notice how Trump answers the question he wants to answer instead of the one that was asked. That's a very smart debate tactic.
They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what do you do
Opioids.
to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough, and it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase.
I agree, Curious Squirrel. We need less government, not more.
Thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers.
Yes, it is, Dana.
Numbers now, it's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low because the gotaways. They don't even talk about gotaways, but the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen, at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming
Also true, Jordan. We need less globalists and more America first senators and governors and all the politicians.
Make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl. These big machines that roll over and it comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers.
You can't even keep cocaine out of the White House, Joe.
When we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues and said, don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically. No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Or we could close the border.
But again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now struggling to get the treatment they need.
Because this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say it's a hostage. Now we have a hostage at Wall Street.
It smells good, don't it, Squatch?
I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago, but Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where he paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle
As he
the
sleeps.
in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected.
Well, that didn't last, Joe.
And now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less confident.
What?
Look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look what I've turned around.
Let's not talk about competence, Joe.
As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing investment in America, over billions of dollars in private
Billions.
in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought an awful lot of people. Well, the whole idea of computer chips, we used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips.
What's that got to do with your age?
Because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and then bring home a product.
That's not true. You know that.
South Korea, I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And then, guess what? Those fabs, they call them, to build these chips, those fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them. And there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. Never heard a president talk like this.
Anything to avoid the age question.
Envy the world. Maybe a single major country president wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word. And everybody
We are the laughing stock of the world at the moment.
and those who he calls up to, from Kim Jong-un, we sent love letters to, Putin, etc. They don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one.
Just one.
Easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace him.
I didn't know that, Dana.
President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you're. Just take a
He didn't say how tall he was, Joe.
what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president.
You are definitely handicapped.
And by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
Yeah.
He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap. 8. But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay,
Let's
let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to turn
Let's not act like children.
You are
a
a child.
specific concern
Let's not act like children.
that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me.
Who, Dana? Who's talking about Soviets?
I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. The only reason reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane.
Got it.
Wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close.
This is true.
And he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is attack on all. Required response. The idea.
The idea.
Single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done, what they've done. Because we're a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything. They step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because of our own safety as a state. And again,
Hang in there, Curious Squirrel.
just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border.
Hungary's doing quite well right now, Joe.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. Not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me.
Also true.
The whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia.
Well, if you got to go, Curious Squirrel, I understand. I love you. Thank you for being here for as long as you've been.
They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad.
Jersey Mike,
They've lost so many people, and they've lost so
he's a liar and you're an idiot. Really?
1,000 years old.
Would you care to challenge me in any intellectual way on any topic, anywhere, anytime,
Will you accept
without
the election, regardless
any notes?
yes or no?
You go ahead.
If it's a fair
I warn you, though. If you don't like being chewed to the bone,
much rather,
if I was you, I'd stay away from that one.
but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely. There's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level, because the people understand.
Ouch.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over.
Well, we will.
You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There's no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what,
Right,
I
Dana.
don't think you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea if you lose again, you accept it anyway. You can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
Yeah, because you cheated.
With more from the CNN presidential debate, live from Georgia.
All right. I don't know how much longer this is going to go on, but we'll see. What do you guys think so far? Who do you think's winning? Who do you think's throwing the ad hominem attacks? Who do you think is answering the questions and staying on topic? Jordan says this debate boils down to if you believe the government or not. basically. Yeah. Notice that the last thing that Biden said was that all the courts in the land were after Trump. Well, he's the one that sicked them on him. So, yeah, they're all after him because they're all Democrat ran. They're all Soros funded. And they're all going after Trump for things that he didn't do. Squatch Stomper says, we all know that the Democrats stole the last election. Well, that's an opinion, and according to YouTube, that's wrong. How dare you, Squatch Stomper? How dare you say the truth in this chat room? You should probably go to that re-education school that the YouTube gives because you don't know what you're talking about. Whiny Trump. Yeah, where's he whining at there, Fab Daddy? I haven't heard any whining. The idea. Yeah, the YouTube gods, right? Trump won. Bill, nailing it as usual. Jordan says, Trump is handling this election like a boss, says Squatch Stomper. Yes, he is. And Jordan says, Curious Squirrel, Trump is doing it on purpose to dodge crappy questions, and Biden just doesn't know where he is. Seems to be that way, doesn't it? Foxman, what's up, brother? Joe looked like he shit his pants half the debate. It's entirely possible. Fab Daddy says, I lost the election because they cheat, whine. I said that. Trump didn't say that. Get him a ambulance. I said that. He didn't say that. But it is correct, unfortunately. And I'm not the only person that says it either. Trump's getting a drink, Joe's getting a diaper change, says Squatch. I don't know, man. It looks to me like his drugs are wearing off. He spends a lot of time like this. When they ask about age, the only thing I can think of is there's only one person there that looks like they can handle being there, and that's Trump. He doesn't seem phased at all. We got to get another bump. Right, Bill? Got to get another bump. Sorry, guys, my voice is cracking on me. Joe's getting another shot full of Adderall and gabapentin, probably some cocaine. Says Jordan. Squatch says, time to get 100's up. 100's uppers. They got to do something because he's not doing well. All right, here comes the debate again.
And it's time for the candidates to deliver their closing statements.
Closing statements. Okay, we're almost done.
We're going to begin with you, President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Jordan.
We've made significant progress.
Biden made Putin great again, says Dana.
President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience, or anyone out watching this debate, do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is, that I said, nobody making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes, and will not. And if I'm reelected, that will be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit. Number one, he's increased inflation because of the debacle he left after the way he handled the pandemic. And he finally
That's not true, Biden.
He now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes in the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? It reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along, and it's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credit people have for child care. We're going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, he's just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president.
That's right.
Respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something you signed.
Thank you, Dana. Good to be here listening to this together. Thank you very much, Dana. God bless you. $20 super chat.
Instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
All right. That's it. That's the debate, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed that. Discuss. What do you think? Who do you think won that debate? Who do you think gave the most coherent closing argument? And by the way, what do you think is going to happen to the polls after today? What do you think the news channels are going to be talking about after today? In unison. What do you think they can point to that Trump said today that they can make fun of? Because they're going to look, believe me. Jack says, Trump can fix this world, Joe. Yes, he can. Squart says, I went into a VFW bar last week. On every dartboard, there was a picture of a man. I'll let you guess whose face was on that dartboard. I bet it wasn't Trump. Trump is the guy that rebuilt the new VA hospital, had that built. He's the guy that said, if you're a VA and you got to go to the doctor, we'll pay for the doctor. He's the guy that said that. He's the guy that said you go to the front of the line if you've fought for this country and you need medical attention. You don't have to wait. You don't have to see your doctor. You can go see any doctor and we'll pick up the tab. Trump did that, not Biden. So it's amazing. Jordan says, Dana, amen, and thank you for the support. Says Curious Squirrel says, thank you for the support, Dana. You are awesome. Yes, you are. Jordan says, stay with us, Joe. Who won, says Jack. Well, in my opinion, Trump did. But what's your opinion? That's why we're here, to find out what your opinion is. Are you swayed by the arguments you heard tonight? Do you feel like you're leaning in one direction or the other? Who do you think promoted the best arguments? Who do you think stood to gain the most from this debate? How do you think each person performed? Maggie says he believes what he says. Yes. If you're talking about me, I absolutely do. If you're talking about Trump, he absolutely does. He might be wrong, but he's not lying to you. He thinks that. If you're talking about Biden, no way. That guy's lying through his teeth almost all the time. And there's 50 years that you can go back and watch him talk, where you can see those lies change and move and become something else over time. Dana says, heart, 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 smiley face. Thank you, Dana. God bless you, sweetie. Jordan says, the bottom line is they're going to steal the election again and people don't do a damn thing about it, unfortunately. Well, there's a whole lot more people watching this time around than were watching last time around, and we have the benefit of knowing some of the tricks that they used last time, and I don't think it's going to be quite so easy to do. That being said, they are the government, and they do have ways of getting things done, so I don't know how that's going to work out. If, in fact, the elections are fair, and if, in fact, your vote counts, and a bunch of dead people don't vote, and a bunch of things don't switch, I think Trump wins. I just think it's a red landslide. But it remains to be seen. Squatch says Uncle Donald's numbers are going to go up. Yes, they are. And they're already going up. And Dana says, good show. Thank you, Dana. Foxman says, I think Biden didn't have as great of a performance as Democrats wanted him to have had. Yeah, he didn't seem very poignant in the points he was making. It doesn't feel like, from a objective perspective, it doesn't feel like the things that he said hit home or felt like good points. They felt like tired old points from the last debate, from 2020. That's what they felt like. Maybe I'm wrong about that. What is your opinion? Hardcore Hentai says Trump whooped Joe's ass. Hardcore? I think you're right. Curious Squirrel says Squatch Stomper. And that will make them more desperate and more dangerous. Yes, it will. Fab Daddy says Joe looked old and Trump seems to be running on immigration again. Well, I think it would be foolish not to, Fab Daddy. Immigration is one of the biggest problems we have right now, or the lack thereof, actually. These people are not immigrants. You do understand that there is a way to come into the country legally which makes you an immigrant. But if you go over the line without permission, you are a foreign invader, not an immigrant. And I think that's a very important thing that both presidents should be running on, because most of America, most of it, is concerned about that, even Democrats. Maggie says, what kind of lies is he saying? Who? Who is he? You're playing the pronoun game. I don't know who you're talking about. I heard one thing that Trump said that might not be true. I have to look into it because I don't know. But everything Joe said, there was a tinge of untruth to it. Everything. Every single thing. I stopped taking notes because of that. I was going to hit those points afterwards, but I was like, all of it. Just all of it. How about that? Squatch says the VA wants to over-medicate on pills that are known to eat away at your liver and kidneys. Well, it didn't used to be that way. Jordan says, Fab Daddy, yeah, right. I think that's what he said. It jumped on me. Hang on. I'll find it. Yeah, true, says Jordan Mills. True. Not yet right. Sorry, that was my bad. Maggie says, there isn't a climate problem. There is not. I would like to ask you a question, Maggie. What do you think would happen if the climate stopped changing? just stopped, what do you think would happen? Are you aware that the climate has always changed? From the beginning of creation till now, the climate has always been changing and morphing and going through phases. Now, it's happened before. And when it happened, we moved. And we will again move if it happens now. It is continually happening throughout the ages. Only at some point it becomes apparent that you have to move, right? So that's not an issue. That's the way the world works. We, as people, are not having an effect on climate change. It's just not. Here's the thing you don't seem to understand. And watch the Hyperbowl, which is one of my shows. I think it's episode 3 or 4. Go watch that, and I'll break it down for you. The big thing they're worried about, among other things, is CO2 in the atmosphere. Well, plants eat CO2. If this is a problem, where are the initiatives to plant trees? Do you see that on TV every day? Are all the government agencies telling you to plant plants and to grow things? No, they're not. In fact, in large areas, they're burning off plants, like in Brazil and, South America. So, mostly, and I'm talking about the Fahrenheit 9/11 of it all, or whatever it was called, the inconvenient truth and all of that. Mostly, climate change is a way to make money by fear porn. You can't change the climate. It's going to do what it's going to do, and you have to adapt to it, and we're built to adapt to the climate. So, no, there's not a climate problem. Foxman says, I think the fact Trump said he didn't want to run but felt obligated was a good talking point. I think so, too. And I also think that a lot of the things he rebutted that Joe said, like, I can't remember the exact thing it was, but there was one really salient point that he made, and it was basically along those lines. Man, I wish I could had a better memory. I had to go back and watch it again. Dana says, I like to deal with facts. The fact is that Biden drove the nation to its knees and made America look like a laughingstock. And that is a fact, Dana. You are correct. And it's not a good fact. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish at the very least, like with Obama, that the rest of the world bought into the lies and actually respected America, which they didn't so much under him, but they did more so than Clinton. Clinton kind of made it silly, too. I wish we could go back to the Reagan days where people viewed us like they viewed us during Reagan. That shining city on the hill, and I'm not speaking to his policies or his presidency. I'm just talking about the overall opinion of the world at that time, I think was better than it is now. I think that's what Trump means when he says, make America great again. I think that's his way of saying we're going to make America that shining city on the hill again. And that's what I'd like to see happen. Jordan says, I hope Trump didn't leave office. I hope he stays again like FDR did. Well, he left the first time, on time. He didn't even stay a day late. So all that talk about him not leaving office, that's all nonsense. He did leave when he was president. That's another thing that Biden doesn't have in his favor. We have the benefit of having seen a Trump presidency. We know what he's going to do. Because he already did it. I would much rather have a man that would grab her by the pussy than to have a pussy for a president. First of all, he didn't say that. He didn't say what they said he said. He said, when you're famous, women will let you grab them by the pussy and they won't even stop you. That's what he said. And he was talking to another dude when he said it and didn't know they were being recorded. They've turned that into, I'll grab them by the pussy and they won't even stop me. That's a different statement. Right? Personally, I think it's naive to think that people don't talk like that, and to act all uppity because somebody said that word is ridiculous. We're grown-ups here. We all watched Cinemax when we were kids. We know how this works. Men talk like that amongst themselves. If you think they don't, you're lying to yourself. The fact that it was aired publicly wasn't a good look. But all men talk like that. Jack said, I saw a man today wearing a coat and a hoodie and pants, and he said he was very cold. And I said, it's 97 outside, so when it's cold, you're hot. And the beach chilling. On the beach chilling. Okay. Dana says it looks like crap. Hang on, I gotta find it again. Dana says, look like blank. I am a dumb speller. That's all right. I think my chat jumped backwards. Fab Daddy says, I thought the economy was our number one concern. It's not. It's a big concern, but the number one concern across the board, if you look at what's trending and everything, is the border. The actual number one thing that everybody's talking about is Biden's health, his age, his cognitive decline. But policy-wise, it's the border, and then it's the economy. Trump is a racist, says Andrew Workman. Andrew, do you have any evidence of that, or are you just saying CNN talking points? Because Trump is the only person out of the two that I've actually seen do something good for a black person, or be nice to one, or talk to one directly. So, you know, and also not refer to them as the black people. So, what are you talking about there exactly? Dana says, Foxman, I think so too. Good point. Jordan says, there was literally so much more CO2 around when the dinosaurs were around, and we all know they died from climate change. Oh, wait, there's a giant space rock. That's what I thought. Actually, it was the flood, and they survived that for a little while. It's weird how they have changed history so much that we don't even know what happened in the world. And Curious Squirrel says they actually said to cut down all the trees. That's my point. If they were so worried about climate change, why would anybody recommend that? Think about that for a minute. I'm going to have to take a shot of this because my voice is about to crack. Pardon me. Delicious. That's how you keep your voice going, buddy. Squat Stomper says the dinosaurs went extinct because of Chuck Norrisosaurus. Yes. Jack says, I'm done, I'm out. I'm going to my hot tub. Enjoy, y'all. Good day. Jack, thank you, buddy. Fab Daddy says, Jake has never been to L.A. in the 70s. Correct. Or in any other decade. Smog is real. Humans affect the climate, a.k.a. the atmosphere. Yeah, they affect it, but they don't affect the change of climate, which is a different thing than the atmosphere. Also, when COVID hit and everybody got locked in their house, smog disappeared in 3 weeks. It was clear as a bell out there. And I don't think it's returned. It may have, but I don't think it has. Nobody's talking about it. How about that? I have been in big cities, though, and I do know what smog looks like, and it is real. That will not change the climate. It still gets hot. It still gets cold, and there's smog all over the place. And if you go back and look at pictures of London in the 16 and 1700s and 1800s, after the Industrial Revolution, whenever that was, and look at some of those photographs, you'll see what real smog looks like. And it was like that all the time. Like fog was over London the whole time. It was smoke, not fog. And still it gets hot, it gets cold, it gets really cold, it gets really hot. We have hurricanes, we have tornadoes, we go through seasons. Climate continues. George says, I look at climate change like mom vacuuming up your Legos. If you don't want them to get vacuumed up, move your Legos. Probably wise there, Jordan. How long do you think it will take for Trump to fix everything Biden messed up? About 4 years. Said hardcore hentai. I'm giving the fact checkers an hour or two before I do my research, says Fab Daddy. Please do. College is a scam, says Maggie. I agree. I think, and this is coming from a guy that believes in higher education. And 20 years ago, I would have screamed from the high heavens that you have to go to college. College is a very important part of your growth as a human being. It is not anymore. All it is a propaganda tool. It is an indoctrination camp. It is a place where weak people go to become and make other people weak. If you want to get smart, pick up a book. Jordan says, fact checkers, quote unquote, right? They're taking our country down, says Maggie. True. Bill says, I watched all I can of the after analysis. The spin is unbelievable. I hadn't watched any of it, but I'm going to. You can believe that. Jordan says, that was in the squeeze. What was in the squeeze bottle? Honey? Yeah, honey and lemon is what I just took. I got the bear honey. You can't see it because it's green, but I got the lemon juice, 100% lemon juice. And it does help. As you can see, I'm not cracking anymore, and that'll last about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to have to live on that tomorrow because I have a show. I've got to sing tomorrow night, and my voice ain't back. So I don't know how it's going to go, but it's going to go one way or the other. Maggie says, we're in a third world country. True, Maggie. Or they're running it like one anyway. And Jordan says, Maggie, that's what happens when you let half of the third world in. Who would have figured? Right? How many people, says Jack, how many people do you think that is in this world? Who is the first person in this world? There is currently, today, about 7.9 billion people on planet Earth. And it's going up exponentially. So by 2035, there should be 8 to 10 billion people on Earth. The first person on this Earth, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I imagine they were built as a group because all the races were here before Adam was created. Adam is the first Adamic person that was born here, that was created here. He is the bloodline through which Abraham would come, and through the 12 tribes of Israel would come from Adam. So, during the flood, 2,000 years later, almost the whole world was wiped out, and there were 8 Adamic people on that boat that survived, and probably a few other people. But that's why Eve is called the mother of all living, because of the people that survived the flood, not because she was the first person in the world. Hope that helps. Colin Hill, the Biddle. What's up, brother? He says, hey, Jordan Scott Mills says, that's awesome and hardcore, Jake. Thank you. Thank you very much. Maggie says, it's terrible and hard to believe these people are here. I'm terrified of what they're going to do to us. Well, they're not going to do much. They're going to commit a few crimes. They're going to maybe kill a couple of people, maybe get some people hooked on drugs. But if Big Daddy gets back in the White House, those people are going to go away. Hopefully. Colin says, to be exact, Jake, it's 7.951 billion people. Thank you, Colin. I said roughly. Maggie says, our military is the worst it's been. True. Jordan says, Maggie, well, they need to start being terrified about what we'll do to them. That's the problem. Well, all this talk about white rage and male toxicity, toxic masculinity, you should probably look at a history book and see what happens when men, particularly white men, decide they want to do something. It's usually pretty gruesome. Look at the history of the world. So I wouldn't want that if I were you. Keeping us complacent in a nice, cushy country is probably the smartest thing you can do, because if we get riled up, and I mean all men, if we get riled up, chances are somebody's going down. It's not a smart thing to want that. It's not just whites, Jake. Blacks are done with them too. I agree. I don't disagree with that. There was not a white-black statement. I just said particularly white men. But black people too. They built stuff too in the past. And they conquered things in the past. Anytime you get males riled up, they tend to take over. And it's usually bloody. So we don't want that. We want to stay cushy and stay comfortable and stay having conversations. When the conversations end, that's when the trouble starts. As long as you can talk about something, First Amendment, Second Amendment is in case the First Amendment fails. Maggie says, we're weak now, not like that we were when Trump was in. Right. Jack says, that's not a lot of people. I thought there were more than that. Nope, 7 billion. That's it. 7.9. 5-1. And Jordan says, what am I ready to do, Jake? That's what I'm ready to do, Jake. Yeah, take over some stuff. I hear you, buddy. I hope it don't come to that. I hope we don't come to civil war. If we do come to civil war, it's going to be gruesome. Remember what happened back in 1880. Well, I wasn't alive in 1880. What happened? Sorry. All right, it is 11:04, and I do have to get up and go to work in the morning and then go to work at night tomorrow night. So I'm going to bolt out of here. Anybody got any questions, comments, criticisms, catharses, catalogs? What did you think of the show? What's your opinion? Do you have a super chat? While you're thinking about that, hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free. It's effortless. It's right in front of you, and it really does help the channel with the algorithm. It helps us get recommended to other people. Won't you do that, please? Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment. Comment down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid, make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love the content and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here and you like it and you want to support this channel, well, super chat or join the channel if you dare, if you think you got what it takes, if you're smart enough. Hit that join button or buy some merch. But if you want to do something more substantial, go to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband, or if you're a CashApp user, $jakejohnsonband. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me, but it's a blessing to you too, because God, He notices these things. We do live in a reciprocal universe. Trust me on that. Now, I will answer all your questions and comments for the most part, unless it gets crazy like it did tonight. Then I'll have to skip. But if you super chat me, I will answer. That's it. Right now, I'm going to go to bed. So, God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for fighting the man with me while we risk my channel to bring you this debate live. I hope that it was informative. I hope you learned something. I hope it causes you to think one way or the other, whichever way you're going to go. And I hope that above all, you go out and vote this November. I hope that you do that. I hope that you take it upon yourself and not be lackadaisical. Don't sit on the whimsy of the world. Go out, be proactive, and vote. Vote your conscience, vote your heart, vote your intellect, vote your feelings, vote your emotions, vote your belief systems, but vote. And that way you have a say in what happens. It's a very small say, but it's a say nonetheless. And I will see you guys Sunday night for Bible study. Until then, God bless you all. May his blessings abound in your life. May his grace light your footsteps every which way you go. And while you're out there going, be nice to somebody. That's all. Just be nice. Just lend a hand, smile, hold a door, buy a bum a sandwich, do something for your community. Be nice and watch it change your life. I promise you it will. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for your questions and comments and ideas and thoughts and being part of this, a proactive part of your republic. God bless you and thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Good night.